And welcome to Open Studio. I am Steve Leahy. This is the Tokyo painting. We're starting off a little different tonight. We're starting off in the farther back view. This is what you guys saw last week. This is where we ended up with. But I wanted to leave the far away camera on just because I wanted to show you guys a couple things, because finally I have the wood for the frame. This isn't all of the wood. This is actually a piece of the cutoff. I've got a whole board of this. This is Japanese cedar. Isn't that beautiful? So basically it's two different colors. I'm going to be using the orange color. I've already got the pieces cut off of the larger piece. This is just the one of the end pieces, but I wanted to kind of show you what it looked like. I wish that it had smell-o-vision, because this stuff smells amazing. Yes, it smells like a cedar closet, but it is so aromatic. It's beautiful. The grain in it is perfect. So thank you to Rare Woods up in Maine. They were the ones who sent me this board. So yeah, it's great. It's going to be a great frame. So what I'm going to do is probably in a few weeks, we're going to have an episode that's all about the frame, because I'm breaking down how I put it together. It'll be its own episode, and that's how that'll go. So it's pretty cool. And of course, this is the crushed up stone that I have from Tokyo, so that's going to go really well. That yellowish stone is going to go great with the orange wood, and then of course the painting between it. So it's going to be good. All right, but that's not why you're here. You're here to paint with me, so let's go do that. All right, so here we are. This is our usual view. So we're going to keep going. We did this whole little section right here. We're going to start working on these bigger buildings right above, and that's what we're going to do. So we're going to have to cut out some stuff for that, I think. Yeah, let's do that, because I don't have a lot done. This is the initial pass up here of, lighter and darker stuff. So we're going to come up with something a little bit more concise than that. So that's it. But yeah, super excited about the frame. That is good news. Again, I was mentioning it last week. I was pretty worried because I hadn't really locked anything down yet for the frame yet. And but this place in Maine, man, they had everything. And I wasn't necessarily looking for the place in Maine. They popped up with all kinds of available stuff, which was super cool. So funny that, I come from New England and I had to go back to New England to get wood from Japan. So there you go. All right, so what I'm going to do now, since I have a couple of the darker things cut out on the painting already, I'm going to just go with the lighter stuff here. I think that'll give me a good idea of what I still need to paint in for this section up here. Other than that, there's no soapbox. So yeah, I started the frame as soon as the wood came in, which was great. I started cutting it all up. I'm going to be doing something a little bit different with this frame than I've done in the past with these frames, and mostly just hardware type stuff, which I'll get into when I show you guys the frame. But I'm really excited about that. That's that's going to kind of be the new direction for these frames for this type of painting, and yeah, it's all good. So we just got to get it done. Now we just got to put it together. But that's the hard part is done. I've got the wood, So cedar's a nice wood. Like I said, it's super aromatic. It really smells great. This is a kind of a softer wood, so it's going to be fun to work with. It's going to be easier to work with. It's going to be more fragile though. So not that you're going to be dropping the paintings, but those super hard wood frames can take a lot of abuse, where softer wood frames don't necessarily are able to take that, which is, just means, well, not that you'd be dropping the paintings anyway, but, there's that. All right. Other than that, again, we're pulling up on mid-December. It's hard to believe 25 is almost done. Hopefully your end of the year plans are all in place and everything's going to be good. You'll have a good time. If you just are avoiding the whole holiday thing, end of the year, good for you. Hope you get exactly the rest and relaxation that you're hoping for. And yeah. All right. yeah, I'm just cutting out everything here that's fairly bright. So the good news about this area too, because it's pretty far back in the scene, there's not a whole lot of detail. So even some of these bigger buildings that I'm going to get to, like this one here, and this, I think it may be an observatory, I'll have to look it up. But all this stuff here, even though the buildings are fairly large, you can't make out a whole lot of details on them because they're so far away. So it's just through the block of the building that has to happen, which is nice, you know. And then we're also in the misty area too of this guy. So it's going to be tough even in the copies making out stuff to cut out. But, you know, like I said, all I need is a few landmarks, something to build off of that I can bounce around and get the ball rolling, so to speak. Do I want to do those guys? I've already got them started. I already painted them on the first initial pass because they're light green, but they appear, you know, really bright here. Yeah, I'm looking at the painting. I do already have them, but wouldn't hurt to get them in again. And then hopefully I should have enough to get going, because all this stuff here is tough to see. Yeah, I definitely think also that the Rhode Island painting is going to be next. It's just going to be a nice kind of cool off after this one. You know, this painting is going to easily come in at over 40 hours total. And it was, even though I split it up into little half-hour chunks, it has been epic. You know, it's just been always on the bench, and I need one I can knock out a little bit quicker. The Los Angeles one is not that. It's not as crazy as this, but it's pretty dang close. So we'll wait on that one. Plus it's gonna be fun trying to see what Southern California hardwood looks like. I have some redwood, but that's not, you know, Southern California. That, of course, is reclaimed. I don't want anyone to think I'm harvesting or supporting the harvest of protected wood. All right. Yeah, there's a lot going on here, but I just can't really make it out in the copy. And we are in full on in the misty area up here too. Yeah, I think it's going to have to do it. I might have to get some of the dark too. We'll see. We'll try that. We'll see what we come out with. All right. This guy back down here. Let's go here. Here-ish. You guys get as much as you can. There we go. All right. Alrighty. Start with that nice gray building right there at the bottom, because I can see that guy. Oh, and the little observatory things should line up too. Yeah, that's not bad. It's not bad. The light color is a little bit off. You know what I should do? Because I said I was going to go right across here to this bottom section first, didn't I, last week? See, this is how it happens. It's all over the road. That's all right. We can kill all the birds with all the stones. Let's do that. I just realized I don't have anything cut out on this bank here. These bigger buildings here. I don't have a whole lot cut out there. So I got this building. I don't have this guy here. So let's do that. This will be good because this just lays everything out, you know, this almost the whole section. Do, 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 do. Okay. What else can I get out of here? I need something to tell me where some of this is. I think this one will do it. It's not very bright. It's like kind of a grayish building, but again, it's going to work more like a landmark than anything. Literally, you know, it's finding that building. And then I'll go with the next little guy next to it. Ew. I didn't want to cut out. And to show you this trick, it's great. If you do these small cuts and you cut some out and it's not releasing, or even if it's a bigger cut, you can still do the same thing. If you flip it over, it's much easier to see where you didn't, you know, cut the corners or whatever to get it out. There's another one that's flopping around over there. It's just much easier to do it that way. Is that enough? Get me over that edge. It's going to have to be. Yeah, let's try that. All right. Good. All right. One more time. Jeez, it's been so long since we did that. That was the beginning of the painting right there. Oh my goodness. That was a while ago. There we go. That's where we're at now. Let's make sure you get the whole thing in there. All right. Let's see what we got. So that's that building there. Make sure that's lined up. River lined up. Yeah, I think that original lighter pass is slightly off, which is okay because that happened way back at the beginning. So the fact that, you know, things have shifted a little bit, it's not bad. Grab a big magnet here so this isn't going to go anywhere. This is one of those big ceramic magnets. These are nice on the aluminum. They just hold. They go right through because they're so big. Oh, excuse me. Hiccup. Ow, that hurt. You've had one of those really, like, oh my gosh, one's really just painful hiccups out of nowhere. That's what that was. I was talking and breathing at the same time. Oh, that hurt. All right, let's get some white in here. I think it's time to clean off this bottle. The top of this bottle. It won't even come out now. So so paint crusty. All right. White. Again, you know, this isn't make it totally white. This is just kind of throw this in so that I can see where things are. And then I'm going to look to see if a darker template is going to help out. I think it might. But we'll see. We'll see if I have enough info to get going. Yeah, darker one's going to help out too. Slide this down a little bit so you can see what we're working on. Try to get all of this in. Yeah, we are basically knocking out this whole area. Yeah, let's do a darker one too. I hate to spend a whole episode cutting and spraying, but this is the way to go. You can see how nondescript all this is. You definitely get the indication. Again, this is another instance where if I just throw a whole bunch of stuff in here, that's fine. But you can see verticals, you know, and you can see horizontals in here. And that's what's going to sell it. The accuracy is going to sell it. So I can't, oh, you know how it is. It's like you can see the light at the end of the tunnel and you just want to like stretch and get over that finish line. But man, that's when that end is where it all happens, because again, that's where you end up just, dropping the ball. You want to see it finished so badly that you end up cutting those corners at the end. And trust me, it's super, super easy to do. But we ain't going to do that. We've come this far. I have the painting right above me so I can see what I've already cut out. I've cut this out, right? I'll talk now. I've already cut this out. I've already got this landmarked in. But this will just help me kind of register everything, that little shape. Same thing with this one too. I've already got this one in too. So that little thing right there is going to help me landmark everything. Now I'm going to go for all the dark areas that I can. Again, these will help set up those verticals, so they'll be there now, which is what we're looking for. So I was talking about having a show with all these landscapes, or all these small landscapes, and I that's what I want to do. Usually what happens is these paintings are all available. Once they're done, people can collect them. They can buy them. And the New York painting is gone. There's some other paintings that are gone. And for a show, I could always call the owner or contact the owner of the painting and say, hey, I'm having a show and I'd really love to include this painting in that show. Would you mind borrowing it out? The painting now belongs to them. So, of course, the rights to the painting always belong to me. They can't, turn around and enter that painting in a show or make prints or whatever. But the painting itself belongs to them. They have the right. They even have the right to say no, and that's fine. That's totally fine, But that happens. But with this series, I don't know. I don't know if I want to go back and pull back all the other paintings. That said, in order to do the show, then I'm going to have to make some of these paintings not available till after said show, which got me thinking about this painting in general. It always comes up. Are there any paintings like that you never want to let go of, that you've done? And usually for me, those are paintings that are personal, obviously the painting of my dad. That would go to my kids or to my, one of my relatives, but that's not something I would sell, right? It's pretty obvious. But this painting here is interesting, because this is definitely what I would call one of those hinge paintings. Generations, the Harley painting, is another one of those paintings that has a lot of meaning to me personally and represents something about what's going on here in the studio. Both of these paintings are open studio paintings, which I had no idea would be as much fun and big as they are. To know that a big, massive painting is completely and 100% videoed from start to finish. That's really cool. I don't know anyone else who does that on a painting that takes a lot of time. What are we on? Almost 40 hours on this painting. I don't know anyone who has anything like that. And so that makes it real special. So I was thinking about it the other day. I'm like, well, at this point, what if someone came up and said, hey, I want the Tokyo painting? Right now, my knee-jerk reaction is to say, of course, because that's what I do. I paint things to make people happy and tell stories and get them out there and that kind of thing. I don't want to, I don't want to leave this planet with a bunch of paintings sitting around. You know what I mean? I want to know that they're in a good spot and people really love them and will, pass them on or whatever. So So that involves letting them go, you know. But this one here, I'm like, I don't know that I would let this one go. So we'll see. Generations keeps going up and down on my website. Like, it'll be up for sale, and then I will take it down for the same reasons. I'd be like, I think I want to keep it. So I don't know. But, you know, like I said, I think ultimately everyone has their own thing. You know, some people, it's more basal. You know, they as young children, we do art. You know, we do our project, and then we just toss it aside. We don't even think about it, because it's not, for a child, it's not the final piece. It's the action of doing that's important to them. So that's why kids could care less about paintings or drawings after they're done, for the most part. Where we, as, like, for parents, for instance, you know, we hold on to all that stuff most of the time. I did, you know, I had all the kids' stuff, and the kids could care less. Now, you know, they get a kick out of it. But yeah, when they're doing it, they're just doing it and tossing it aside. So that's a very valid way to be, even as an adult. You know, some adults just enjoy the creation part of it, and then don't really care about, you know, the painting after. You know, they're okay if it, you know, if it sells, or even if it doesn't sell, or someone just takes it, or they give it away, or even it ends up in the trash. You know, they just do a painting and then paint over it and do another painting, you know. So that's completely normal, except for me. That's not the way I feel. But yeah, it's all different ways, you know, to kind of think about all that. So I'd love to tell you one way is the right way. Well, one way is the right way if you are running a business. I mean, you know, if you're doing it to sell art, you definitely don't want to, you know, throw it away and give it away. But for just in general, you know, general purposes, for creative stuff, yeah, there's no right answer for that. Just kind of neat. Oh, this is the bridge. I realized I just recycled another cutout from the bridge up here. The bridge, when I did the bridge. Fortunately, it's a darker cutout. You know, it's the shadow of the bridge and the reflections. So if a little bit of paint kind of somehow gets over there, it's not going to ruin the painting. Yeah, like if I was doing the white parts and I got, you know, white paint under there through that part of the stencil, it's going to screw up the shadow. So the smart thing would have been to check this template or stencil really carefully before I started using it. But then where's the fun in that? All right, I think that's going to be good. I don't know what more I can do there. Maybe this guy. And this seems real tedious, and, you know, we've talked about it a lot in this painting. This whole cutting out of all this stuff, it seems really tedious to do now, but it's really going to help accuracy, and it's going to save me time and when I go to paint it and all that fun stuff. So that's really what it's for. You spend time in one area to save time in another, I guess, is the way to look at it. Okay. Should be in really good shape. Now remember this little guy right here where my end of my finger is, that's right there. It's already in. So I can use that to line it up. And then if we're lucky, things like this happen, like that black building that I put in is already in. So that's perfect. That means things are sort of kind of lined up. So I can check it. You can't see it behind the palette cam. Then turn the palette cam off, Steve. You still can't see it. But there's buildings just beyond here off this side that I could also use to line that up. And that looks good. Looks good. Same deal. Jumbo, big old crazy magnet on this just to kind of hold it in place. And I have white in that brush, so I need black in this brush. The other thing that happens too with a painting like this, there is a almost not really, it's not as strong as mourning, you know, when someone or something passes away. But there is a little bit of that feeling. Like, you spend so much time with a painting like this that's been so big and so, like, always there, you know what I mean? And plus, now that it's an open studio painting, I mean, I'm spending all this time with you. I have memories of talking to you guys and all this stuff. So when this painting is done and it's in the you know, the inventory, like, there's a little bit of sadness there too. Like, you know, I enjoyed working on that one, you know? So, which is always what pushes me on to the next one too. All right, let's get this dark stuff in. Nice and light, again, you know. I don't want to be cleaning stuff up, meaning hose this thing down and get a big splotch on it. So I want to keep it nice and light so that the paint just is dry enough to go through that opening in the cutout and then just lock into the surface underneath. I don't want it wet, you know, because that's when you end up running into trouble with it spider webbing and all that fun stuff. So that looks really good. That's, again, it probably needs to be darker than that, but I just need to be able to see it. Now we should have plenty of info there. Yay! Yeah, lots of stuff to work from now. Good. You also see that what we were talking about last time. Here's that abstract part as it moves into these bigger buildings here. Now I can see the gap there, and I know where I'm kind of working from. Let me get a good copy of this so I can see what I'm doing. That's lovely. Yeah, I think we're gonna just, in the last few minutes that we have, we are gonna kind of work on this this area right here, because this is just about done now. So we'll knock that out and then we'll keep going. Holy crow. Whoa, we're close. Not super close, but way closer than I don't know. It feels close. All right, let's start underneath that guy. Darker gray here. Actually, I'm gonna add some brown to this because it looks like it has brown in it. This is actually red oxide. It's not brown, but when I add a little bit of red to it, that's brown up there. I should have just used that, but oh well. But when you add a little bit of, so if you don't have brown, orange and red and black usually do the job. We'll give you a nice brown. If the orange will sometimes turn that greenish color, and then you just use the complement of green, which is red. By adding a little bit more red, it'll turn it into this really nice warm brown, which is great. So, a good hack if you don't have any brown on you. It goes down there. Building there, a couple other things. It is proper December here now. It is like, you know, everyone's still in Ohio, everyone's like rolling that it's like freezing cold and snow on the ground in December. And not that they don't get snow here, they do. But again, for me as a New Englander, this is winter, you know what I mean? I was way spoiled. Really spoiled with, well, that's the front of that building. Okay, good. With my first few years here in Ohio, really spoiled. So nice, you know, it was like mild and didn't have to take out the snow blower, and yeah. This winter is taking care of that, boy. Again, not what you came for. You didn't come for that. Old guy sitting on the front steps yelling at people to get off his lawn. That's not why he showed up. Oops. I might be able to salvage that without having to redo it. Possibly. Yeah. No, actually, that is totally salvageable. That's a little bit darker. Is it? Yeah. Yeah, no. A little bit lighter, actually. Now that we're into winter too, you can tell it's super dry, and this wet palette, where and in the summertime, like I could go and go and go, you know, like I'd have to put a little bit of water in it every once in a while, and you know the paint would always, I'd have to, you know, I'd have to throw the paint out because it would be wet but not usable, you know. Now it's like, man, if I leave that, if I work all day with the wet palette open, I like have to keep putting water in it. It's so dry in the air that it just sucks all the moisture out of the wet palette, which is okay, but you know, it's just, I don't know. There's like one little point where there's like a happy medium. It's like perfect, and then it's gone. Again, here he is complaining again. Oh boy. I feel like, oh, the roof is a little bit darker. That's what I needed. Oops. That's not what I want. That's more what I want. Yeah, the roof and the side of the building, this building is, the roof is a lot darker, so I gotta get that separation in. There she is. Much better. You got these guys too. These are really dark, but just use this for now. That's for now. There's more stuff on this guy. Are you guys excited I have the frame? Or the wood, anyway? I am. Super excited. I really was. I was like, what happens if I don't get the wood before I finish the painting? Then what happens? So I'm glad that worked out. And what would have happened was we would have ended this, not ended, but I would have started the new project and then just put on another episode whenever I got the frame finished, which would have really kind of stunk for you guys that have been hanging around the whole time. You know, for people afterwards, it won't make any difference. You know, they were just going to see the episodes in a row no matter what, because that's how they're posted. But for you guys that are watching this live, you know, watching this in time, going to the premieres and all that, that would stink not to have that, you know, resolution at the end. What I might do with this painting, depending on how it goes and where it is, I may bring this down to the source gallery just to have them display it so that people can kind of go in and check it out even if it's not available. These, I'll keep saying it, you know, my stuff, my work has a whole different look live than it does online or in print. You know, even the prints are great, but it's nothing like the real McCoy, you know, seeing the real thing. So having it on display in the source gallery will let people, you know, kind of go down and check it out. And then this is definitely slated to be entered in a bunch of shows coming up next year. So you know, it might make the rounds that way. And then of course, you know, like I said, I'm shooting on or planning on having that show with all of these at some point, but who knows when that'll be. But it'll get out there. I like it. All right, that's perfect. Let's take a look at the whole thing. You guys will get a good idea of where we're at. All right, and here we go. This is it. I've also thrown the piece of wood next to it again too. So that gives you an idea. So now look at that whole, this is that whole area. If you look at the copy, we've got the whole, pretty much that whole area knocked in. Now, you know, there's still a little area up in here that needs to be kind of worked out, but as we're getting there. We're getting there. It's frightening. But yeah, there you go. That's what we got. So thanks for joining me tonight. You know what to do. Just hit that like and subscribe for me. It helps grow the channel and brings more people in, and that's always fun, so I totally appreciate it. Thank you to all the people that throw the super thanks on these videos. That literally keeps the lights on here, so thank you so much. If you want to be a financial supporter of the channel, you can do what these lovely people have done and become a member here. You get early access to time-lapse videos, and well, actually you get early access to all the videos that I post, except the live stream, because you can't post that before it's live. So there's that. All right, so there we go. So for Steve Leahy and Through Lachlan's Eyes, you guys are the best, and I will catch y'all next week.